Mr. Chairman.
I have not. It's coming up. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy December. We're going to go directly into the Academic Affairs Committee. Happy December.
Scary.
I can go back there and govern the meeting. You get it almost real time. We okay, Mark? Okay, thank you. And I'm gonna work on that adjustment you've been telling me you deserve. I get it. Thank you, Marcus. We'll call order. I'm gonna go through a couple items, and I'm gonna turn this committee over to Mrs. Ann Smith, the vice chair of the committee. Dr. Tarver is a little under the weather. So before that time, we're going to go to invocation and pledge of allegiance, and ask that Dr. Whitfield.
For our Pledge of Allegiance, I'm not sure we have, who's doing invocation today? Do we have anybody? And, no, I don't have it.
Right here.
Okay. During our invocation, I'm sorry, Mrs. Minister Wilkinson, it's Minister Patsy Wilkerson. Minister Wilkerson, could you please come forward?
Good afternoon to Board Chair Myron Lawson and to members of this distinguished board. Let us pray. We gather here with the members of this board. We thank you for calling us together. We invite you into this room and we ask that you would fill it with yourself. Your precious Holy Spirit is welcome in this place. We ask you to bless this board individually and collectively for the great life-changing work you have assigned their hands to do. God, we ask your blessings on them as they continue the work of helping Southern University System continue to be a preeminent institution of higher learning. We thank you for providing the opportunity for the board to collaborate with you as they advance the mission of the Southern University System and all it's destined to be. God, we ask you to guide the vision, goals, and strategies of the board to fulfill its purpose. Send your creative spirit upon them to open their hearts to recognize your presence among them. Help them to engage in meaningful discussion and allow them to grow closer as a board. Bless them, God, and nurture the bonds of true unity and communion. God, please give them freedom to speak the truth boldly with empathy and kindness. Give them patience to listen openly with a receptive spirit. Give them confidence to explore new possibilities. Give them God ideas to go beyond the ordinary to the extraordinary. Then, God, we thank you for allowing them to look forward to the new year with a renewed sense of purpose, hope, and great expectations. Allow them, God, to use their time, talent, and treasure to make a difference not only in the lives of the Southern University community, but the greater global world. And then, Lord God, fill them with your grace and remind them that all that they do and all that they accomplish is for your greater glory and service to humanity. And finally, God, we ask that you would seal this prayer. We ask these things in the name of your Son. We give you all the glory, all the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Minister Wilkerson of Shiloh Baptist Church here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What are you doing now? We'll now have our Pledge of Allegiance by one of our Southern University Laboratory, the state champion football team, Southern University Laboratory School, Sandra Harris. Sandra, come on forward. Sandra is a proud 12th grade student at the Southern University Laboratory School, where she has been since pre-K 4. Her proud parents are Helen and Isaiah Harris. During Sandra's years at Southern Lab, she has participated in several clubs and extracurricular activities while maintaining a high GPA. Presently, she holds a 4.1 GPA and serves as the Beta Club president, senior class president, and student government vice president. Sandra has successfully matriculated 18 plus dual enrollment hours through the Southern University A&M system. Sandra attends Beacon Light Baptist Church in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where she enjoys praise and worship. She also enjoys serving the community by working as a dispatcher with the American Red Cross. She plans to attend Louisiana State University and major in kinesiology with the goal to one day become a physical therapist. Sandra.
Chairman Lawson, President Shields, member of the board, and distinguished guests, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Thank
you.
Thank you.
Chairman Lawson.
Thank you so much. And thank for all those that help us thus far with the meeting. Next on the agenda, I have special presentations, and I'm going to turn to my right. There's a young man that is not President Shields, but he serves his country and he serves his university. You saw him salute the country of the flag, so we're grateful for him to step in while President Shields is recouping. Chancellor, interim executive vice president.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning, members of the board. Or good afternoon. Yes, it is afternoon. Good afternoon. Today, I'm honored to present the Above and Beyond Award winner. And I know several things about her. She is very diligent. She works very hard. And at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can have conversations with her. She's always thinking about things that I don't think about. And she's very loyal. It was very, very difficult to speak to her today because she was asking about some things, and I had to make sure that I did not reveal some things to her. But our Above and Beyond recipient is our general counsel, Corrine Blash.
Pretend like you could.
I like to stay in the shadow.
Okay. The shadow is over.
I just want to say thank you. I like to stay in the background, so this is very uncomfortable for me, but I appreciate it.
Now turn the Academic Affairs Committee over to the Vice Chair. As Dr. Tauber is recouping, we continue to pray for he and our President.
Okay.
I think we should do a roll call first.
And the roll call will take place and certify a quorum, and I'm gonna substitute the president for a young man, and with this motion, I'll ask that you entertain a motion to appoint Chancellor John Pierre as the Secretary Pro Tem in President Shields' absence. Is there a motion?
So move.
Moved by Dr. Whitfield, properly second by Board Member Ann Smith. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. So I'll turn the meeting now over to the Vice Chair of the committee, Ms. Smith. Sam Gilliam, I'm sorry. That's
Chairman, by all means, I indicated I would be pleased to defer, sir. Okay. And I'm still trying to figure out how you were able to pull that on, Councilor Blush. She covers every aspect of what's going on at the university, so I kind of looked at it and said, gotcha. Thank you. The Academic Affairs Committee has already been called into session. If we would please, Mr. Acting President, would you please give us a roll call of the personnel committee?
Dr. Leon Tarver, Mr. Sam Gilliam, Attorney Tony Clayton, Mrs. Maple Gaines, Mrs. Ann Smith, Dr. Orlando Williams, Mr. Myron K. Lawson.
present.
You have a quorum.
We move to adoption of the agenda for the Academic Affairs Committee, and Chair is open for an adoption of the agenda as it is printed and as it appears before you. What's your pleasure?
I move that we adopt.
It has been moved and second, moved by Mrs. Smith and second by Mrs. Who else is on here? Who else is here today? Mrs. Gaines, you give me a second? Thank you. A second for the adoption of the agenda for the Academic Affairs Committee. The next item on the agenda would be public comments. Would there be any individuals who would like to speak or public comments, anything that is germane to the agenda for the Academic Affairs Committee? And I see my dear friend, Dr. Abbott, moving forward. The floor is yours, sir.
Good afternoon and season's greetings. I'm Dr. Albert Samuels, professor in the Department of Political Science on SUBR. I want to comment very briefly on the item C in support of this recommendation to grant tenure to my good friends, Professor Stephon Addison. I chaired actually the college tenure review, retention tenure that reviewed his application. And in the committee's judgment, the applicant here not only met the qualifications, he exceeded the qualifications. And so the reason that we're here is because the previous administration abused its discretion to overturn the decisions of the subject matter experts in this area, which was not atypical of that previous administration. That's one reason why they're not here today. Professor Stephon Addison has been a trusted colleague for many years. He's a valued asset to this institution for about 3 decades. He's probably one of the best experts on his campus on online instruction. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why this application should have been denied. So I'm glad to see that this is being recommended to the board. This should have never happened. It should have never come to this. So I wholeheartedly support the grant of tenure to Professor Stephon Addison. Is long overdue. Thank you very much.
Get your input, sir. Would there be any other individuals who would care to come forward to render public comments on anything in the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 7. We have action items. All of these, especially number A, we need to get to that because we have commencement tomorrow. We have action items 7, A, B, C, and D. Any discussion or what is the pleasure of the committee? I get a motion? Okay. It has been moved in by Chairman Lawson, and I get a second from, Mrs. Smith then? Okay, thank you. Been moved in second that the action items 7A, B, C, and D would be approved. Those in favor, please let it be known by sign of aye. Opposed, say the same. Nay, hearing none. These items are thus approved. Thank you very much, committee, for your acquiescence to this. I'm sorry.
Point of clarification, I want to make sure
Sure.
that the board is aware. The resolution for the Baton Rouge campus, the number of graduates has changed, and we're asking that the resolution, the accurate resolution reflect the number of graduates.
Okay, do we need to put into? Yeah, it needs to be the number, if you would, then.
I say,
We have, I believe, the chairman who made the
oh,
motion,
okay,
has included the number in there, or a provision for it anyway.
okay, thank you.
Will that rectify it?
Yes,
Thank you very much. As indicated, these items have thus been approved, and we will go on to item number 8. Is there any other business before the Academic Affairs Committee? Hearing none. So, yes, I'm sorry, Don.
Personal privilege here. Item D, Brian Pico was actually a personal friend and a patient of mine, and he had actually gotten back into school and was doing quite well, and it was a very unexpected, untimely death for him. Very, very good person, so just wanted to acknowledge that and thank you all for recognizing and just honoring him today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I also like to have a point just to recognize the board for its actions on the honorary degree for the Reverend Jesse Jackson, someone that I've grown up watching here. I know he's an important figure in our American history. So I just want to commend the actions of our leadership here at this board and also the system for recognizing him with an honorary degree. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments regarding any of the actions that have been taken thus far? We move on to action item number 8, other business. Would there be any other business coming before the Academic Affairs Committee? We move to item number 9, which is adjournment. Ms. Gaines has moved that we adjourn. Mrs. Smith has second. We are thus adjourned. Thank you for your cooperation, committee members. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Move directly to the Athletics Committee and ask that the committee chair, Attorney DeMoine Rutledge, call his committee to order.
The meeting of the Athletics Committee, and we would ask for a roll call.
Yes, sir. Attorney DeMoine Rutledge.
Here.
Dr. Randy Whitfield.
Present.
Attorney Tony Clayton.
Here.
Mr. Raymond Fondell. Mr. Paul Matthews. Mrs. Ann Smith. Mr. Myron K. Lawson.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. We would, Chair will entertain a motion for the adoption of today's agenda. Is there a second? It's been moved and properly second. Is there any objection to the adoption of the agenda? Hearing none, it is so ordered. Are there any public comments? Public comments? Public comments? Seeing none, we move to action item 5A, request approval for contract for new head football coach Terrence Graves, and the chair will recognize Dr. Whitfield.
Season's greetings to everyone, and thank you all for being out here. We normally don't meet in December, so I'm glad y'all could make it. I'd like to nominate Coach Terrence Graves for the new head coach of the Southern University football team. Last 2 Fridays ago, Southern Lab was playing against Ouachita Christian, and I don't know if y'all watched the Cardiac Kids, as I now call them, but they won 2 games at the 4th quarter, just totally amazing. It was raining, it was cold, and Coach Graves was on the sidelines. And I've been to many Southern Lab games in the last 10 years, and I don't remember seeing too many head coaches on the sidelines of a Southern Lab football game after Bayou Classic. You're talking about an interim coach who had no uncertainty, didn't know whether he was going to have a job, whether he would continue to be working here at Southern University. A lot of uncertainty there. So I just approached Coach Graves and, Coach, what you doing here, man? I said, man, they got a couple of nice kids on the sidelines from Southern Lab. I'm trying to see if I can pick someone up. And then he went on to tell me about it, recruiting another kid from another school, which I won't disclose because somebody from Grambling might be listening and they would go after this kid. but he's got another kid in the state of Louisiana who he was actively recruiting as well. And I'm thinking to myself, why would someone be so committed and dedicated to the school where he's not even sure if he's going to be working here next year? I've also spent some time in the locker rooms with Coach Graves as the assistant coach, but also as the interim head coach. I was in the game at the Bayou Classic, and the energy that he displayed and the love that the students have for him was amazing. And he loves those kids and they love him. Big G, Coach G, aka Coach Terrence Graves is what they call him. And so I've been very impressed with his abilities, his dedication, and commitment to the University of Southern University. His pedigree is impeccable. You can look at his record of 31 years plus service, but I'm looking at the man that he is. I'm proud to say that he's just not a coach, but he's also a friend of mine. And it is in that spirit that I recommend or nominate him as the head coach for the Southern University football team.
Mr. Fondale.
And just would like to say that the challenge of filling a position like this is always with us, inside of this room and also outside of this room. And it can be challenging sometimes, but where we're at now as far as our leadership, as our athletic director, our chairman here, the leadership on this board, has put us in a place to where we've made a decision. And I hope that we can stand together on this and support moving forward with our head coach. So I would like to second the nomination.
Are there any comments, discussions, questions? Mr. Clayton.
I find that this process was flawed. I don't think it's indicative of the way we should operate at Southern University. This has nothing to do with Coach Graves and or his character, but this administration just hasn't ceased to shock me with some of the actions that emanate from the head of this campus. We knew that we were getting rid of Dooley. You got rid of Coach Dooley. You didn't have a plan B. And we select someone from the same operation that didn't have a winning culture about it. With all due respect, if this new coach knew the answer to winning games, he should have leaned over and whispered to Dooley and told him how to do it. But yet we're faced with, again, that 4 or 5 year contract with Dooley that's worth $600,000 or $700,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars that we must pay off. We're going to hire this new coach, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it goes to the essence of how this administration operates. I came on this board less than 2 months ago, and I came on the heels that this president had one of the lowest evaluations ever. And then for him to come in and say, let's give this guy a chance. It's okay to give a man a chance, but don't give him a chance on my money. When I'm putting up money, when I say me, I'm talking about the stakeholders at Southern. And why not go out and open up a full-blown search? Now, I voted for the focus search, but I thought it would be where we would consider everyone, and all the while you knew you were going to pick a guy from the same staff. It's just not how we operate at Southern. I can add on to that I've watched my friend and colleague, Professor Pierre, get yanked from the law school to be considered as the interim chancellor over here. You left the law school naked. And so now we're going to possibly hire him and pay another chancellor. What in the world is going on up here? And I think we as fiduciary responsible people to this university has to make sure that these taxpayers' money is being met out. I know some stakeholders personally that had to put money up to make sure that this athletic budget made it. It's in a deficit now, and it will be. And at what point do we put the best product for Southern? At what point do we make it incumbent upon this administration, this president, while which we're here, but he's not here, to tell him it's time for you to stop. If you're going to let the athletic director choose the coach, let him do it. Board members ought to not do, but I'll tell you, you can recommend folks. But to recommend folks and have some of the highest profile people in the country want this job, and you say, well, I'm forced to, I got to make a decision now. That's just not putting the best interests of the taxpayers, the citizens, and we as Southern University families forward, putting their best interests forward. So I say this, and I'm going to vote no. It's not about the coach, but it's about the process. And until you, my colleagues, not discipline you guys, hold these folks' feet to the fire, then we're gonna perpetually keep getting this second tier type efforts from this administration. I don't see where this administration is raising money. I don't see where this administration, every day you come here, I'm voting on something today for academic excellence stakeholders, $93,000. I mean, it's like, dude, come on, man. So, Mr. Chairman, I hope at some point we do another retreat where we can lock down and see where we're going with this. Moving one chancellor, taking him from another school to one of the other campuses, leaving that campus. You want to know how to lead? Go talk to that Ammons guy in New Orleans and you'll see how to lead a university. Use him and let's go talk to him and learn how to do it. I've said that, I wanted to get it off my chest because when the lady gave the invocation, she said, speak the truth. And she empowered me with that. So I'm not impressed with the way this administration handled this search. It leaves a lot to be desired. So with that, when you go with the vote, mark me as a no, not against the person, but against this process.
Mr. Shorty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would say that any comments that I make are not reflective on Coach Graves. Everything that I've seen and heard about Coach Graves suggests that he is a stellar individual and will do the university proud. Everything I've heard about Coach Graves suggests that he is a leader of men and the football players will be served very well. Any issue that I have is about process. And I don't necessarily subscribe to my colleagues' position about the current administration, because from what I've seen and from what I've heard in the past, we have operated in a similar manner. And I believe that that one of the issues we have is there isn't always transparency about how we make these decisions. And that makes folks concerned about who makes the final decision and how people are picked. And whether or not we take the time to do national searches to really find the best candidates. And again, this is not about Coach Graves, because I'm not going to suggest, and I don't want him to think that I'm suggesting that he's not the best candidate. But I do think that it is difficult to say that you looked high and low when you didn't go that far to look. And that is concerning. The other thing, another thing that I found concerning was what's been told to me is that based on the portal and a number of different things, it's necessary that we do this immediately because of recruitment and because of a number of other issues, which I have a hard time with that argument because this is a manufactured crisis. You fired the coach you had. And I know we felt that we need to go in a different direction, but if you know this is the most pivotal time in the football season for you to do the off-season things that you do, then I think you plan. I think you anticipate having issues. And I don't think you put yourself in a position where now you manufactured a crisis where you've got to rush in and hire somebody immediately because you created the situation where there was a need of urgency. And that doesn't go to say that we didn't need a change. That does go to say you can, because you know the decision you're going to make, you can manufacture the time in which you make the decision. I do think we're missing an opportunity to have a real conversation about athletics and the revenue generated from athletics and how we want to disperse that revenue. Repeatedly, folks who are more steeped in athletics than I am tell me how we like to focus on a head coach, but we don't take the time to focus on assistant coaches. And the salaries that we pay our assistant coaches leave a lot to be desired. And I think it's difficult for folks in our position to say, how are we going to compensate folks fairly and get the best assistant coaches we can to look, we're not going to put everything on Coach Graves, but he's got to have good assistants. And if I feel I have a better understanding of revenue generated, then I think we can figure out how much of a percentage of that revenue we want to allocate to coaches, assistant coaches, and so on and so forth, facilities, and so on and so forth. The band, But those numbers seem to be very hard to nail down. And I do look forward to having an opportunity to have a real in-depth conversation about the money athletics brings in and how we spend that revenue. We all just attended a nationally televised game, and we know that there's revenue generated from that. But I don't know how much visibility we have on revenue generated from that. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't take the steps I need to take to figure out how we're allocating that revenue. But I think we're missing an opportunity to have that conversation to discuss how we want to go forward. The last thing I bring up is, and this again has nothing to do with Coach Graves, but I do think that there's something that Jackson State did that I think some folks would like to replicate. Some folks don't like it, but there is a methodology to it, and it did work for them. And I would have liked to have had the discussion about what something like that would have meant for Southern, or whether or not something like that was possible for Southern University. Because at some point you're talking about more than just whether or not you're going to win games. You're talking about sponsorships, you're talking about recruitment, you're talking about raising the profile of your program and what's going to happen to those students after they leave your program. So I think all of that could have been had in the coach's search conversation. Nevertheless, we are where we are. And I think Coach Graves is going to do a fine job. I intend to support Coach Graves. But I also would put out there for any of our institutions, if we're going to make a decision, if this board is going to be asked to make a decision, we shouldn't do a press release about the decision prior to the board making a decision. I think that puts board members in a very awkward position to say, oh, what if you wanted to not support the individual? Well, now you don't really look all that cohesive. You don't look like you're working well as a group. It seems dysfunctional. And regardless of who knew whether or not a contract was being offered, regardless of whether students knew or administrators knew, I think until this board makes a decision, no press release should go out. And that's a bad look. And I don't think that should ever happen again, whether or not the press release says pending board approval, because it really puts the board in an awkward position to say, well, I'm not going to support the guy. Well, the press release went out. I assume once the press release went out, we must have all said something. And I don't like being put in that position. That being said, I wish Coach Graves the best. I know I'm going to do everything I can to support him. I look forward to getting to know him better. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I could not disagree more with my two colleagues. Ed, love you, but that's just your comments don't reflect the reality of how these searches are undertaken. Nowhere in America, there's no way that you would have an item on this agenda before you would even inform the team. It just doesn't work that way. This process is inherently non-transparent because you are recruiting people who have a job that you're asking to come here. Often you're not even talking to them. You're talking to an agent under a shroud of secrecy because it's intended to be so, because the minute it leaks out that this person is leaving to go somewhere else, students jump into the transfer portal. The students that they are recruiting withdraw their commitment. It just doesn't work that way. And there is no way that at every turn, at every rock that is overturned and looked under high and low to find somebody, and I know he did this, the chairman knows he did this, the president, he cannot send an email to 16 people in real time because it's going to get out. It just doesn't work that way. I encourage you, I'm glad you're going to support the motion, but I encourage you to go spend some time with that athletic director. That's what I would encourage you to do. Mr. Pierre, can we have a roll call vote on this? I intend to support the motion. Very excited about it.
All right. Roll call vote, unless there's anything else. Attorney Rutledge?
Yes.
Dr. Whitfield?
Yes.
Attorney Clayton?
No, and what the statement is that the no reflects the way that this administration handled the process. And for those of us who continue to acquiesce to this administration's and their lack of transparency and openness and putting Southern first is the reason why I'm voting no.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, we to have the athletic director this time introduce Coach Gray. Mr. Athletic Director, will you introduce our new football coach, please?
We're getting ready for. I would just like to ask that we as a board look at the process in the future and see if there are any reasons why we should scrutinize our process. You know,
Absolutely nothing wrong with this. And I don't want to get, we've already,
I understand.
the motion has been carried.
I know.
We've heard the comments. I know, and so I'm chairing this committee, Mr. Clayton. I'm chairing this committee, and you are, no, sir, you are not recognized. No, sir, you are not recognized.
That's okay.
Because I'm chairing the
That-
committee.
that's
It's a point of
okay.
order.
I
No, sir,
withdraw
you've had
my-
several opportunities to speak.
Withdraw the question.
He has no right as chair. Hold on a second, Mr. Lawson. But I want to respond to her. I'm a member of this committee. You're telling me that he tells me I can't talk?
Please ask him to come up, please.
Okay, and then I have a comment.
The lady asked us to be respectful. And he asked them to advance. Please, Mr.
Somebody tell me that when I cannot talk as a public member of this board, period. Him and no one else.
Ready to say we are recognizing the new coach before the full board vote. Okay.
Good evening to the board members. President in his absence, chairman of this board, Brother Lawson, athletic chair, Attorney Rutledge, and all the members assembled here, members of the supervisors. First of all, I want to make sure I thank the staff that helped right through the teeth of these applications. We did have a search form that helped vet these candidates and gave us names, and so we did go out and look at a variety of candidates. I also want to publicly thank Aeneas Williams, one of our Hall of Famers, and Avery Johnson for what I call when you're trying to make the best decision for the university, and for those guys to keep me focused on what needed to take place. I can't thank them enough because, you know, with everybody have a lot of outside influences, and you're really studying and trying to make the best decision you possibly can make. And obviously, we did go out and we had over 50 applicants. I went out of town and in town and interviewed a lot of people to keep the privacy of this search. And obviously, I just want y'all to know, you know, there's a thing in my business where you have a A-list candidate and a B-list candidate. And obviously, when you're recruiting and trying to go out, there's always going to be an interest from day one. Are you interested in the job? Yes, sir, I am. Okay, let's have a conversation. And when you start getting to the nuts and bolts about, and brought out some great points about salaries and salary pools, those conversations start to change. and obviously you have to come to the realization of what is our offering at Southern University, and what do we have in our treasure chest to make sure we go get the very best candidate. No stones unturned is that I do think that the candidate that we have right now can be taught in any pool. You're talking about a guy, when you look at it, 31 years of experience in the business. He's won 9 championships as a coach. I think he's won 4 SWAC championships, and I think he's also won 3 national championships. He's been a winner of the Bayou Classic twice on both sides of the ball. His pedigree of coaches who he worked under is publicized highly. You're talking about in college, a guy that went to the championship game 3 times and won it twice. And so whenever you look at that resume, that's a great resume, no matter where you're coming from. And obviously, as we went through and combed through a lot of things, it came back around to that. I think that this team that we have is a very good team. I think that to get this junior class to come back and to be able to compete is very important for the decision-making process. And I think that he has the ability, and he's shown the ability in the Bayou Classic. What a different voice makes. What a difference that it makes. And I seen him leave. When I take a deeper dive, I seen him leave starters at home for the Bayou Classic and say, hey, we're going to do it this way. I've seen discipline change. And so I think that as you look through, peruse his resume, I think you see that we got a quality of guy. I'm always interested in talking about the process. I've been in front of you all several times in this administration, and we have had a conversation about what we need to do from a budget standpoint. I think that conversation should still be on the table. But I like to introduce Coach Graves to you all today to be our next football coach here at Southern University. Coach Graves.
Good afternoon. To the board, Mr. Lawson, the chairman, our athletic chair, Attorney Rutledge, Dr. Shields, the president in his absence, Chancellor Pierre, the entire board, everyone that makes up this great system. It is indeed an honor to stand here before you as our new head football coach at Southern University. I thank you for this opportunity. I thank you for this opportunity of entrusting me to produce great students, great athletes, and great men. I've had a lot of experience doing this. I'm prepared, I'm qualified, and I'm a winner. And I will promise you that I will use all my resources, all my expertise, all my networking, friendships, relationships that I have from the NFL down to the lowest level of college football to make sure that we're doing things the right way and representing Southern University in a great way, because Southern University is the best, and we're going to represent the university in that way. Thank you.
At this time, I'll recognize Mr. Clayton.
I want to apologize to the board for that brief blow up on me. I apologize. But what I don't apologize to is, if you're the chair of a committee, this is not Russia. You get to make your statement. And if somebody else wants to say something, you hear them out. You don't say, that's it, it's over with because I'm the chair. I can care less about that. I apologize to you for blowing up. I don't apologize for challenging the chair for when you tell a lady who says we should re-examine the process and you state there's nothing wrong with the process. Well, I just don't think dictators ought to be on this board. And so I don't apologize for that, but I apologize to you and the rest of you guys for defending myself against someone who's going to tell me to be quiet.
You finished? Any other comments? If not, we'll go to item 6. Any other business to come before this committee? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. It's been moved. All right. Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll move directly into the Facilities Committee. And I'm asked that Edwin Shorty, our chair, call his committee to order.
Chancellor Pierre, roll call, please.
Yes. Attorney Edwin Shorty. Attorney DeMorne Rutledge. Mr. Paul Matthews. Mrs. Ann Smith. Dr. Leon Tarver II. Dr. Ronnie Whitfield. Mr. Myron K. Lawson.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Before we move for adoption of the agenda, I do have an amendment to the agenda. I'd like to move to add action item A, the request to authorize the Southern University Foundation to determine feasibility of solar panels. Can I get a motion to amend the, moved by Dr. Whitfield, second? Second by Ms. Smith. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? The amended agenda is adopted. Public comments. Any public comments for the Facilities and Property Committee? Seeing none, we will move on to the recently added action item, which is, just to explain, there's been a proposal, the foundation put out a proposal for companies to bid on providing solar panels. Oh, Ken, I didn't even realize it popped up on me. The board is being asked to authorize the foundation to study the feasibility of the solar panels being added to the campus and the energy savings being used to cover the cost of those panels. In addition, the proposal allows for new roofs to be installed on the majority of the Baton Rouge landmass. But we have to authorize the foundation to study that. Mr. Dawson, does that about sum it up?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can I get a motion to approve? Moved by Mr. Whitfield. Moved by Mr. Whitfield, second by Ms. Smith. All in favor say aye.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question, although I'm not on?
Yes, sir, of course.
Where would the panels be? Would they be on the vacant land on top of the building?
It would be on top of the buildings. What they proposed was to redo the roofs of each building and to put solar panels on those buildings. And Mr. Dawson, what I'd like to do is that proposal that they sent, could you send that around to the entire board, please?
Yes, sir.
And for us getting the new roofs and they get to put the solar panels, they calculate out the amount of revenue that we will save per year on electric costs. And that's how we pay for the utilities. Now, I had a Zoom call with them, and I think at some point, either the foundation or we're going to have to hire somebody who's really involved and can understand whether or not it's a good deal for us, because they explained to me how they got their projections on utility increases over the 25-year period. Was it 25 years?
Yes.
The 25-year period, and how they calculated the savings. But obviously, I'm not in the utility industry, and I think we need to hire somebody who's a specialist who understands whether or not this is a good deal. Looked like a good deal, but we just want to authorize the foundation to get to look into it.
Okay, thanks.
Ms. Reeves?
I would also encourage the foundation to look at federal grants to put solar panels in. There's a lot of federal funding to actually offset this cost. And I'm assuming they're going to be looking at that.
That's part of it. Yes.
Tax credits were part of it.
Mhm.
And again, that's something that I think we want to authorize the foundation to study, because the company doing this would be doing it with tax credits. There'd also be some credits that I understand will be transferable to us that we could possibly transfer to donors. So the tax credit part got very complicated. And again, I think we need somebody to advise us on that. Counselor?
The amendment, we need to make sure that we have unanimous approval of the amendment.
Okay. Do a roll call vote?
Yes, please.
All right.
All right, Attorney Shorty?
Yes.
Attorney Rutledge? Okay. Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Whitfield?
Yes.
Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
That's 4 votes. We got a president, okay?
Now we vote on the action item. Can I get a motion to approve? So moved.
I second. Just one discussion. And of course, we want to save money, but we don't want to see, I don't want to see panels when you come into this glaring at you in the face of maybe some of the buildings. It has to make sense. But tied to this, some of that legal affairs committee, we talked about this with council. We also ought to be looking at a franchise agreement. We're a major consumer. And I think it's time now that we talk to our utility companies. I'm surprised, quite frankly, we don't have a franchise agreement. So somewhere in the midst of all this, it doesn't have to coincide with it. We need to get an answer by next meeting about where we are and put it under legal affairs in discussion with the franchise agreement with Entergy. Okay. So.
I was going to say we need to look at the, I think it's the Department of Energy. There's some research grant funding, some significant amounts of money that we could get for that. So I'll share that with Ed and you, so we can look into that. But there's a lot of monies out there that we could do along with the panels, not just installing, but research as well.
Yes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The action item is approved.
Mislabeled B and C. Mr. Dawson.
I think that the first item here is update on the status of the Shreveport Memorial Library facility, and I think that Chancellor Pierre is going to be speaking to that.
Again, good afternoon again to the committee. So we have at the Law Center been struggling to get work done on the Shreve Memorial Library, which is critical to our ability to have classes there and as part of our initiative to eventually bring a branch campus there. So we completed 2 years of our semester in Shreveport operation, and we've done that in the spring. And the Shreve Memorial Library, we thought, was an ideal location for hosting those classes. Obviously, we've had issues related to COVID that have affected that, but more importantly, as far as the facility itself, the roof has had damage since March of 2022. And to my surprise, I'm actually shocked by it. The Memorial Library Board or the city, or I'm not even sure who's responsible, has not replaced the roof and repaired the roof. And they've had 2 bids out. The second bid came out of $180,000 above what they thought they should pay. So nothing has been done. And we had damage to property that we invested in that we just don't feel comfortable putting ourselves at risk with respect to those things. In addition to that, so this is almost 2 years now, and there still is not a bid or on the project that's acceptable. So we don't know how long that's going to exist. And the alternative was to put some kind of tarp on the roof, and that's just not acceptable. The second thing relates to, we've been very, very fortunate to have Mr. Hall, who is a minority contractor in Shreveport, do really great work to the facility. But there was, in the process of him doing, of work being done, there were some other folks who came in and one of those workers left an oil rag that was combustible, and then it essentially caused the sprinkler system to go off throughout the building, and from the fourth floor down to the basement, drenched that building. How it never made news in Shreveport is shocking to me. Mr. Gilliam, we talked about it. Ms. Dudley, we talked about it. Again, now we have a situation where we're in a fight between their insurer, the Office of Risk Management, about who's going to pay for what and how we're going to get things done. And essentially, the facility on the third and fourth floor is not in a position where it can be occupied. And we did not feel that it'd be prudent to do anything more than to focus on getting all those things resolved. Because obviously we don't have unlimited resources. And so what we decided to do with the Semester in Shreveport program is we're going to do it in a different way where our students are still going to have opportunities to connect with lawyers and judges in Shreveport, but there's no way to have classes there. And I appreciate the help that we've gotten from Dr. Gant to help us try to figure out some of those things. But the reality is we have to put the onus where it belongs, which is the Shreve Memorial Library Board, City of Shreveport, and anybody else who's responsible for that facility, because actually it's jointly owned between the parish, the city, and the feds. So we've tried to keep board members, particularly those board members in Shreveport, apprised of that. And because of Dr. Tarver's really interest in all of this and the work that Senator Tarver has done to help us appropriate money, we just didn't feel it was prudent to go further and try to do something that just wasn't possible. And we wanted to inform the board of what was going on so there would be no surprises to the board.
Your update. My follow-up is about the insurers. What is going on beyond the challenge with the insurances? I mean, I know how all that happens. Caddo Parish, the city, Memorial Board, can you speak to some of those issues that are in their wheelhouse and not within the insurance directly?
Well, essentially, one thing that was surprising to me is that there was no plan, or there doesn't appear to be a plan to first do that roof. I mean, there's nothing, if you don't take care of the roof, you're wasting your time. It was just, that's, and it's not like they didn't know there was going to be a roof problem. There was always a plan to replace the roof. But obviously, some weather events occurred in Shreveport during that winter of 22 that made that really necessary in a more immediate way. And I'm just surprised that nothing has been done in the sense of finishing off what needs to be done with respect to that, knowing what we wanted to do. And I just don't think it's wise for us to, because we've invested a lot of money in equipment, redoing that fourth floor. And it's a beautiful facility, but we just can't continue to put anything at risk with that roof in the condition it is. The Office of Risk Management is working with us because there are going to be certain things that are not covered by the private insurer that our Office of Risk Management from the state is going to have to come through. But even then, there's a process. And then the issue with who's going to be the architect and all those other issues, it's not something you can try to deal with overnight. We just have to pause and focus on getting that done.
I don't see a solution for the next several years, but it's why I'm here. My concern is, are we focusing on this as being the only alternative? I know 610 is there. I don't know how much space we need, but is 610 completely occupied?
Yes, sir. At this time, 610 is pretty much occupied for those rooms where we can have classes held because we have some challenges on many of the floors at 610 that we are in the process of addressing at this time. But it won't be something, from my understanding, that's an immediate fix because due to the HVAC system at 610.
Now, most of these are night classes, from what I understand.
We have some afternoon and evening classes, but
Evening.
here's the real issue. In order for us to go on to the next step, we have to have an accreditation visit by SAC, CFC, and the ABA. And the number one thing they're going to start out with is facilities. And we just came to the realization that let's pause, let's really address this, let's talk about it, because I know there's a desire to do this in Shreveport, but now we got to really get into. We've done the easy part. We've gotten the first process, the first steps going. We know it's possible, but now when you start talking about investing in a branch campus, that's a significant investment, and we don't want to do anything that's not sustainable.
Any other comments on that particular item? Mr. Dawson, let's move on to the facilities update.
Sir, and thank you, Mr. Chair. President Shields in his absence, to Chairman Lawson and the rest of this illustrious board. Just want to go over some things quickly. I know I was asked to kind of mention the upcoming outage on the Baton Rouge campus, which will be happening starting next week. It's an outage that was associated with a project that was done by DOTD several years ago that basically kind of collapsed a main feeder line to the campus. That project has been implemented. The contractor is out here. And I know there was a concern about the research elements in buildings and that they may be jeopardized in some way. Well, I've talked to Mr. Pitts at length. Those things are protected. They're taken care of, and we're not worried about power being lost that would cause any issues with any research projects that are ongoing now. Second thing, I understood there were some vaccines back in the health center. That is being taken care of because in the process, we have gotten approval from FPNC to cover any costs of any generators that we need to make sure that there will be no issues in the building. I have met with Mr. Pitts several times. I met with him with the contractor. I met with him with FPNC and the engineer to ensure that these things are covered. Throughout the process, the IT would also be up. That generator will be working. Mr. Pitts has set up a plan that will be a roving person, making sure that the generators of fuel and they are operable. So just want to give you a quick update with that process looks like it's well covered, and we don't expect anything to happen that could cause any issues. Want to go over some things very briefly with you. Let me say this. Thank y'all for approving the situation with the solar panels. One of the major issues that we just talked about, roofs. One of the major issues we have on this campus are integrity of roofs, okay? This process will allow us, if it's approved, to be able to replace those roofs. Because I know you've heard before, our deferred maintenance amount that we get on campus does not nearly cost the amount of deferred maintenance issues that we have. And roofs are one of the biggest problems. I'm sure we have someone sitting in the audience from ROTC building, McNair. That roof was supposed to be replaced several years ago. It wasn't because the degradation of the roof caused a structural issue. Now that cost has gone from $400,000 to $1.2 to $1.4 million to secure that building. I will say at this meeting, and I've told them also, we have placed deferred maintenance dollars for that particular project to be done, and we're waiting for FPNC to finish that particular endeavor. So we're very happy about that. There's also the other building. There's a chiller that has a situation. All these are deferred maintenance dollars. We're taking deferred maintenance dollars and trying to hit the most critical issues so that we can do something with those. Just another thing I want to tell you, talking about deferred maintenance, that I have to mention this. We've worked with Dr. Ammons at Suno because if you recall, during the summer, we had an issue where they couldn't have class because of HVAC issues. Well, he can tell you, we pulled together a group on a Friday afternoon, and we were able to get him back in the building. But something's even better than that. I think through Chairman Lawson, through some other people working with our Public Service Commissioner, there is a process that we're moving through called Energy Smart down at SUNO. Let me tell you what it has done for us. It has given us $130,000 in chiller maintenance and controls. You have given us another $231,000 in building controls at no cost to SUNO. But the bottom line, which I'm proud to say, it nets an energy savings of close to $300,000. That's the kind of thing that I think in facilities that we need to look at. What can we do things that's going to improve the function of buildings that reduce the operational and maintenance costs? So I'm glad to thank Dr. Ammons and his effort in working with us. And that is only the beginning of this. You know that we're doing other things with our Public Service Commissioner on a lot of buildings here, and we will be discussing that as we move forward. Just a few updates just real quickly. I want to say that we did get a selection on our cafeteria in SUNO. That process is going well. So that architect has been selected to move forward with that $10 million process. We just finished that. I want to say that on the nursing school, that selection committee should be happening on our nursing school here. That selection committee should be happening in January or February to get that particular addition and renovation done. The nursing school in New Orleans is moving forward with programming. The projects that are going here continue to move forward with programming, but there's some that are coming up real soon. The T.H. Harris Learning Center actually went out to bid. We were a little over, so we have to work with FP&C to get that below the available cost for construction, but that did go out to bid. The amphitheater, outdoor classroom, the Welcome Center, and the police station are expected to go out for bid at the beginning of the year. So we should be seeing some groundbreaking on those particular projects very, very soon. So that's some of the things. Attorney Clayton, you spoke to me about the road over on Mills Avenue. I've already reached out to the NPO, CRPC to have some discussions about what we need to do to move forward and some federal dollars to look at those things. So I can say there are a lot of things going on. One more thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to quit. I want to thank President Shields. I want to thank my boss, Mr. McClinton, and the support of this board. We have actually hired an engineer that's assisting in getting some things done. We also made a major hire of a person that will be becoming a part of facilities. And I'm telling you what we're going to do, every single thing that we have dollars for, they will be encumbered, and we're going to be moving projects forward. So I think that we're going to be even more efficient with what we have. I got to thank Ms. Simone Whitmore and Ms. Lynetta Bartholomew for what they've done, but now we're getting a team together that we're going to be job one. So I'll answer any questions.
A follow-up as it relates to Shreveport, 610 building.
Yes.
Can it came up earlier, you mentioned it. What's the status of that IT project at 610?
Okay, the 610 building, that's a HVAC project. In fact, we have allocated monies for them. They just hired another person with FP&C because they were short-staffed. I'm going up there Monday. I met with them a few weeks ago. The process now is moving forward. We have several floors on 610 that we will be putting individual units to take care of that issue. The goal is, based upon supply, we're hoping, Dr. Gant, to have that ready before the summer. My task and my statement to FP&C that we need to get all this ready before summer months come again. So I will get a detailed status. I'm driving up Monday. I have a meeting with him on Tuesday, but I do think that we could possibly meet that deadline, that before the summer.
But do we know, is it been bid? Has it been
Yes,
let?
yeah.
So contractor selected?
Yes.
Where are we with all of that?
It has been what they call they just kind of assign a person to a direct appointment is what they call them. So we actually have it already designed and we know what we need to do. The bottom line at this point is that we'll be going out to contractors to get them to supply the material for it. So yeah, we're at the point now that we should be getting the cost in to actually get the work done. So we've got a lot of it, ahead of us.
They're waiting on you. Thank you.
I'll probably be waiting on them after I talk to them.
Any other comments? Thank you, Mr. Dawson.
Thank you.
Any other business? I'll add another business. To my chair personnel and my board chair, my understanding is that next month, SUNO is going to put forth a person to head facilities at the New Orleans campus. Is that correct, Dr. Ammons? I think it's in our best interest to make sure that that person has dual reporting requirements, not only to someone on the SUNO campus, but to Mr. Dawson. with your approval, I would like to instruct Chancellor Ammons to make sure that this person has some reporting requirements to Mr. Dawson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
It needs to be driven from the board because we've been asking, and I actually just got it late last night, so for an organization chart, because not only SUNO, it's good for SUNO, it's going to be good for the rest of the campuses and the footprints. So I'm going to share that sometime today, what I received last night, and I think it's going to probably start the conversation, not only that role, but several other roles that we may be able to find some more efficiencies in, including athletics, okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, thank you. All right. Any other business? No other business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Dr. Whitfield, seconded by Ms. Smith. We're adjourned.
Okay, thank you, Attorney Shorty. We'll go directly into finance. I'm going to ask that the vice chair of the committee, the Honorable Ann Smith, take charge in the absence of our chair, Dr. Orlando Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And at this time, Finance Committee is called to order. Roll call, please.
Yes. Good afternoon again. Dr. Orlando Williams, Mrs. Ann Smith,
Present.
Mr. Sam Gilliam, Mrs. Christy Reed, Attorney DeMoine Rutledge, Dr. Leon Tarver II, Mr. Myron K. Lawson. You have a quorum.
Thank you. A motion to adopt the agenda is written.
I'll move.
It has been moved second that the agenda is accepted. Motion carries. Public comments, I see none. Action items. A, request approval for admissions fee adjustment for the Baton Rouge, Southern University Baton Rouge campus.
I'm in a posture to move for adoption of both items, but I'd like to voice a concern, if you would, ma'am.
Okay.
And I'm going to beg your tolerance in acting as a proxy for my student member who is not here. Because as you well know, admission fees and application fees are borne on the backs, obviously, of our students. So I wanted to make sure that this is not going to be an undue burden for our students. So in that light, I asked Mr. McClinton to do some research for us. And I think we're in a position to see that. I believe Mr. McClinton tells me that it's roughly about 78% of our student body here will be recipients of Pell Grants or some form of financial aid. So this should not be an undue burden to our students. It would just simply be built into their cost of instruction. Is that right, Matt? So I think on both issues, I think we're in good shape. In that light, Madam Chairman, I would move for approval of action items A and B.
Okay, yeah. Second, we get a second? It has been moved and second that items A and B be accepted. Any objections? No objections. Any comments? Motion carries. We move to informational items. None, or a financial report. Mr. McClinton.
Okay, thank you. I placed in the in your board packet this time a brief summary. Board Member Gaines and I had talked about it, and I placed a summary in there, but I would like to just kind of go through a couple of items, if you will allow me. And I'll go briefly, but with the boarding system, all of the boarding system dollars are state appropriations. So we don't have to ever talk about in terms of a revenue shortfall. So as it stands right now, the spending for the boarding system is really on pace, and we are projecting to have a balanced budget at the end of the fiscal year. For the Baton Rouge campus, this year they are projecting their fall semester revenues increased. They have a $719,000 increase as compared to the budget. And that increase is basically being used to offset operating services and to offset professional services. And really also, they're going to probably start looking at scholarships in addition to that. So those dollars are being used to offset the other items where we have increased costs in those particular areas. For the Law Center, they have a $554,000 shortfall for the fall semester. And for the fall semester, what they're doing this semester and going forward for the spring, they're reducing their operating services category, and they're also reducing professional services. And in addition to that, from talking to Mr. Hall, the CFO, they also plan to take a closer look and reduce overloads that they were able to, they've been granting to the employees during COVID. For the New Orleans campus, they have a shortfall also. They have a $752,000 shortfall for the fall semester, and also a $356,000 shortfall for the other self-generated revenues, which are also connected to enrollment. But they also had a $356,000 increase in out-of-state fees. The net shortfall is $896,000. And I've been talking with the CFO, and I also talked with Dr. Ammons, and it's my understanding they're offsetting their shortfall by not filling some of the vacant positions they're having, eliminating non-essential positions. They're reducing utilities, and also taking a look at adjunct faculty. After those adjustments, they're projecting, as the other campuses, to be able to close their books with a balanced budget. For the Shreveport campus, they also had a shortfall in tuition of $391,000. And they are primarily looking at, they have a lot of vacant positions on the Shreveport campus. And they are not planning to fill some of those positions to make certain that they are able to balance the budget at the end of the year. These projections are based on where we are now as of November 30th. And as it stands, it appears that they are all on target to balance. We will definitely need to keep track of it because we are closely waiting, and we'll be watching what happens for the spring semester, whether the revenue increase or decrease. And whatever happens, we would have to make the appropriate adjustments. So that's the status of the interim financials as of November 30th.
Thank you, Mr. McClinton. Do you have any comments, questions? If none, we'll move to other business. Any other business? None available. Motion to adjourn. It has been moved and second. Motion adjourned. Accepted.
Member Ann Smith. We'll go directly into Personnel Affairs Committee, and I'm asking the chair of that committee, Honorable Mr. Sam Gilliam, take charge of it.
By call to order. Mr. Standing President, would you please give us roll call, sir?
Yes, sir. Mr. Gilliam? Mrs. Christy Reeves? Here. Attorney Tony Clayton? Here. Mrs. L. Dudley? Dr. Leon Tarver II? Dr. Orlando Williams? Mr. Myron K. Lawson?
Present.
You have a quorum.
Before we move to adoption of the agenda, I need to bring to the attention of the committee, we have some amendments to be made referencing action item or adding action item H, continuation of interim appointments. And this is for the Susler campus. You may remember we passed approximately 6 months ago authority for the new Chancellor Gant to either stay, extend, or whatever the interim appointments that she had, and we gave her that campus authority to do so. She has been working diligently, and she's filling positions as expediently as she can, but she still has a few more to go, and subsequently she will need your authority to extend that privilege. Am I right, Chancellor? Okay, so that's added as action item number H, continuation of interim appointment for Chancellor. So we're going to call it. Also, we bring your attention to item E under the items, and this goes under the topic of faculty equity pay adjustments. Individual has been added there in our effort to bring equity pay to our professors and pay them market value. Carolyn Tillis is the individual full professor, and we're compensating or making compensation in that salary on the proposed adjustment of $6,470, which will give her a proposed salary of $85,470. Also, amended in the agenda would be under item G. The compensated amount there will be $159,744. Okay. Any questions or clarifications on the amendments? Okay, we offer then the adopted amended agenda for your consideration. What's your pleasure? I'm looking for a motion.
Do we need a roll call? Okay.
I got a motion first.
Motion, okay. Okay.
Somebody move.
And I have a second from Ms. Dudley for approval of the amended Personnel Affairs Committee. Those in favor, just to simply by the sign of aye. Opposed, it's nay. Roll call. Because we amended it.
All right.
Thank you, Council.
Mr. Gilliam?
Yes.
Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Attorney Clayton?
I have a question about H. So you said, Mr. Chairman, that you're bringing in H, the one you just amended to, we're talking about, I think it's H. Are there lists, is there a number? The budget man just said we're in the deficit in Shreveport. And how much money are we trying to approve now? There are no names here or nothing or no numbers. So how much money are you trying to get us to approve to spend more money when Shreveport's in a deficit?
But let me give you the background in all honesty, Attorney Clayton. What happened was back in, I think last year, May of last year, before Chancellor got there, we did an incentive for early retirement. And my faculty and our faculty and staff did what any of us would do. We offered them a pretty hefty incentive. The majority of them took it. But a lot of the individuals who took those incentives, and I would have done the same thing, Attorney Clayton, but the people who took them were in significant positions or roles. For instance, Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs. We were already, I think, vacant in the Vice Chancellor for Fiscal Affairs, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, plus a plethora of other positions. So really what we've got our Chancellor in, she's in a kind of a catch-up position. But we had given her these are interim positions. She just needs the authority to continue them so that we can continue to operate the university with some degree of integrity. Without them, we shut down.
Did you save any money by offering these? I guess separation packages? Okay, so you just spend a lot of money on letting them separate from the university, then you hiring the same people back again?
No, they're not the same individuals.
Not the same people, but you hire.
Gotcha. Some of those positions are critical to the success and the integrity of the institution.
Yeah.
Okay, we're together? All right. All right, sir. Thank you very much. Okay, therein, I think, where's my motion? I have a motion for approval of the amended agenda.
Well, we're coming to vote on it, the roll call, yeah.
Okay, all right. So let me start all over again.
You were with me, so yes.
All right. Ms. Dudley? Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
You have a unanimous. Okay.
So our amended agenda is thus approved. Okay. Then we move to action items 5A through H. And again, committee members, what is your pleasure?
I move in global.
Okay.
I have questions on B. I have questions on.
By all means. May I carry the motion and then go back to the question? Would that be in order? Okay. I have a motion to approve the agenda items in Globo. Did I get a second on that? I got a second from Mr. Dudley. Okay. Those in favor, please let know by sign of aye, but let me defer. I'm sorry. Do a roll call and then I'll defer back to Mr. Clayton for Mr.
Okay. I think there was somebody who want to make public comment if I'm.
Mr. Durham. Mr. DeVerne, you've been recognized, although we basically approved, I put you probably going to address, but please come forward. We have you first on the list for public comment. Mr. DeVerne and Mr. Akidi, you will speak in tandem if you want to.
Okay.
And Dr. Ishmael, you will speak in tandem, right?
Yes.
Okay, because that direction, but we hear you out. What do we have, sir?
All right. Well, good afternoon, Chairman Lawson, Vice Chair Dr. Whitfield, distinguished board members, and Chancellor Pierre, and all faculty and staff in attendance. Mainly, the main focus is item 5E, the faculty salaries. So I just want to make a comment. It's taken us 2 years to negotiate the salaries here. We started under Executive Vice Chancellor Dr. Sahu, and finally we got it approved after 2 years of long and several hours of negotiation. Now that should not happen. If you love your faculty, take care of your faculty. And we hope it never happens again. So we see on this agenda here, we see several salaries of non-faculty, and they're making lots of money. And some of them don't have degrees. Some of them making more money than faculty with PhDs. And we don't think that's fair. But anyway, we want to thank the board, and we want to thank Executive Vice Chancellor Young and Chancellor Pierre for their work, their tireless effort. They believe in this place, they work with us, and we can't say too much about their work ethic. And meeting with us, we can call them in a minute, and they say, come on in, we're going to meet with you. And hopefully, because of our many hours, we've gotten this thing passed. And thank you again, and we want to thank the board for their dedication and hard work. We want to thank all of you, and we hope you have a happy Christmas, and we look forward to working with you next semester to make this place a better place. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sirs and madams. I'm Dr. Ejidi, Vice President, Faculty Senate, SUBR. This is not my first time coming here. We don't just come here when things are not moving well. We also come here to thank you when things are moving right. We sincerely appreciate our board chair, Chairman Lawson, for listening to us, for giving us accommodation to speak to him. Specifically, Chancellor Pierre, open door policy. That's all we've been looking for. Just give us opportunity to talk to you, listen to us. And we have someone who is also familiar with our campus, Dr. Young. Open policy. Come on, we talk it out. We're going to work it out. That's all we've been looking for. 2.5 years. If just take a glance, take a quick glance at the board package. Less than $42,000 for 6 faculty members. Less than $50,000 for 7 faculty members. For 2.5 years, it baffles my heart to see this happening. We have the longest impact on students. They graduate, they come back for letters of recommendation. And we are still not valued. This is really, really making us feel not appreciated by the university. Again, I appreciate board members for working with us. We really love you. We are not here. We will not allow anybody to come here to present misleading statement to you. We will criticize that misleading statement. You all remember in Shreveport, somebody said, oh, I saved $2 million from overload. I challenge the individual. Where is the $2 million? Oh, in savings. You can't get $50,000 to pay 7 faculty from $2 million. Oh, it's in savings. Where is the money? We will not allow anybody, any administrator. They know that your schedule is really busy. They can come over here, present misleading statement. We will not allow that. We are your foot soldiers. We will let you know if what they are doing is right or wrong. We are not against anybody. We want our faculty to be happy. We want you to be happy. We want you to have peace. Now the 7 faculties will smile back home, tell their families. The money may not be big, but they are smiling right now. See, they asked me to write this, present it to the board. No, I'm just going to thank the board for a job well done. Chancellor Young, thank you so much. Chancellor Pierce, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you. Oh, Chancellor Pierce is right there. Thank you, sir. You see, looking at your seat right here. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Yeah.
This would be, I believe, Dr. Ishmael coming before us.
Good afternoon. My name is Yasser Ismail. I'm a faculty member at Electrical Engineering Department. Today, I'm here to thank the chairman, Mr. Lawson, and honestly, all of you, all the board members for solving our salary problem. And also, I want to thank you so much for the valuable changes you did and you made in our administration to support faculty members. We can say now, we can see how our new administration work for us. Now we can feel we are safe and we have someone who is taking care of all of us. Personally, I would like to thank Chancellor Jean-Pierre. I would like to thank Dr. Gloria Young, and I would like to thank our President Shields for supporting us and for the hard work they did to solve our salary problem with you. We discussed a minor issue with the salary, okay, with the Chancellor Pierre yesterday. And honestly, we believe in you and we trust you will do it shortly. In a very short time, we can feel how much changes you did with the new administration. So we hope to see this all the time, because some of us were about to leave the place. But now we feel safe. Again and again and again, we thank you so much for your great support and valuing us as faculty member. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Indeed, we appreciate your commendation of the administration and its approach to meet your needs. Dr. I believe DeVerne had spoken to me down at the New Orleans meeting, and he indicated as much to me that indeed he felt the sensitivity coming from the administration that indeed we are now listening to you, we are sensitive to your needs, and we hope in some small way this proves that we're heading in the right direction. So we thank you indeed for your sacrifice daily and your service. Thank you so very much. I believe, correct me, your counsel, I believe we'd already moved and had the roll call on these. Okay, so I'm just about to finish then. Okay, we move on to item number 6, I believe, Mr. Chairman. No, we have a comment. We don't, hold on, Mr. I'm gonna let you got it, Mr. Clayton. Comment.
He was doing a roll call, and I was gonna wait the roll call so I can handle the issues that I have. Here's my question. On B, subpart B, may I?
No, I just want to make sure we get the roll call on the agenda item, right? On the agenda.
Agenda.
We haven't voted on the.
Right, I know.
It's on the agenda. Yeah. So, yes, you're right, on the agenda.
All right, so may I proceed? So on item B, Executive Director of Stakeholders Engagement, and that kind of dovetails on what the faculty was saying. You saw how appreciative they were for 7 of them to get $40-some thousand. But what in the world is and why does academic affairs need a stakeholder engagement director? Can somebody answer that for me?
Well, I will.
What is a stakeholder? I mean, it's $93,000 state money. What is an executive director of stakeholder engagement? That means you call the stakeholders and you engage. What is that?
So, Attorney Clayton, there was a individual, Dr. Brian Lucas, who was in the Office of Academic Affairs. I spoke with Dr. Young. We wanted to repurpose that particular position, and I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs of academic affairs. So I asked Dr. Young, her opinion on that. She gave me her opinion, and I'll let her explain specifically what she's thinking about, because what we're doing is we're changing the face of academic affairs. One of the problems that I have seen is that too often our Office of Academic Affairs try to manage people and not deal with real issues. So, not that you asked about this, but part of the problem is that when I have conversations with the faculty senate and the things that they want to see out of academic affairs, they were clamoring for changes in how academic affairs looked and interacted. So that's what we've been trying to do. And I'll let the real expert, Dr. Young, explain the rest of it.
Good afternoon, Chair Lawson, Vice Chair Woodfield, honorable members of the board. Attorney Clayton, thank you very much for your question. So when you think about the word stakeholder, who are our stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders of Southern University? That would be our faculty, our students, staff, you as members of this honorable board, the Louisiana Board of Regents, all of our internal and external constituents. So as Chancellor Pierre stated, the position of a special assistant to the executive vice chancellor and provost existed in the Office of Academic Affairs at the same salary of $93,600. Upon my return to the Office of Academic Affairs, I've had a lot of time to assess the office, assess the operations of Southern University, and come up with creative ways to determine how academic affairs can provide leadership to the academic areas instead of managing the academic areas. When I looked at the job description of the special assistant, well, first of all, I didn't like the title. I'm just being honest. Just don't like the title of special assistant. When I looked at the job description, it wasn't comprehensive. It wasn't reflective of the needs of academic affairs to move Southern University forward. So first and foremost, we have to be more responsive, both in our timeliness and our actions. And such a position will help bring a level of organization that's needed so that we can be more responsive, more proactive to our internal and external constituents. You may be aware that the Board of Regents has a number of ongoing initiatives, such as Momentum, Board of Regents Pathways. These are all opportunities for Southern University to strengthen itself. Such a position will help the Office of Academic Affairs, in addition to Southern University as a whole, to strengthen itself so that we can in turn strengthen the academic infrastructure. Because I need help right away.
My next one, law school. You got one here, IT liaison, although it's federal, which is not, why do you waive the search?
You mean not law?
That's Baton Rouge. Why did you waive the search on IT liaison and professional development officer?
Okay, so this is This is another area where we have lots of training, professional development needed. Let me just say this. When I agreed to come in and help in this particular position, I saw a lot of things that were not being taken care of because no one was dedicated to fixing problems. Dr. DeVerne talked about coming and talk to me. They can show up anytime. I'm going to stop what I'm doing and we're going to have a conversation and we're going to fix it. They will send me emails and I'm going to stop what I'm doing to fix it right then and there. Now, I can't continue to do that. It's not possible. That's not sustainable. So we need to put in people that are going to carry out very important functions because we have situations where faculty were not aware of some of the IT resources we had. We spent a lot of time, for example, making faculty aware of some assessment tools that we have, and people weren't aware that those tools were available. So we did expansive engagements with faculty. And when at first I was told, well, faculty won't come, and so we went to the faculty. We went to 7 or 8 places. We did it over a 2-week period, and we went to the faculty. And the faculty engagement was so high that folks were saying, we never thought this was possible. So what we have to do in terms of, as I see it from the Baton Rouge campus perspective, is we have to re-engage the people. The people make the difference. It's not anything that I'm doing. It's not anything anybody else can do. We can buy all the technology we want. We can come up with all the programs we want, but the people make the difference. And so this is an attempt to bring the people who we think we need to engage faculty, students, everyone involved in this Baton Rouge landmass. It's different. It's not what I would call standard, maybe, but we're trying to move this campus to the speed of business. And
we waived about 5, it's about 4, about 6 of them. It's 500,000, 4 to 500,000. You got 7 faculty members with 43,000, and you talking about the people. I think the faculty makes a difference, but I'm only asking this administration, when you bring executive directors of stakeholder engagement and you try to explain it, the money, your shortfall in the law school, $500,000, your shortfall in Shreveport, you have a shortfall in New Orleans. And I started reading this kind of stuff. When I read it, I'm saying to myself, what are these guys doing in terms of making sure 43,000 for the faculty and 400,000 for the people, whoever you call them? I just don't know if you create some executive director of stakeholder engagement that I think you can cook the numbers and create all kind of crazy titles, but redirect that money for when that bad day come, when we're going to have all kind of shortfalls and balance the budget. Thank God, and I pray that we get a lot of students in the spring, because if we don't, we're going to be facing a bigger deficit than what we have. And I just think some of these executive director of stakeholders development, whatever you call them, engagement, I think that's going to come back to haunt us. But that's all I have to say. I'll move on with whatever you need, Mr. Chairman.
Have a point of clarification? If not, I believe I have a motion awaiting a roll call vote. All right, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah. Mrs. Reeves?
Yes.
Attorney Clayton?
Yes.
Ms. Dudley? Yes. Mr. Lawson?
Yes.
Are we unanimous?
Thank you very much. This motion is thus carried. The roll call vote, okay? We move to item number 6, it appears, other business. Is there any other business to come before the Personnel Affairs Committee? If not, we move to item number 7. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
It's been moved by Mr. Clayton and seconded by Mr. Dudley. We now consider ourselves adjourned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Go directly into the Southern University Board of Supervisors meeting. Call to order. Item number 2, roll call, Mr. Secretary.
Yes, sir. All right, let me make sure I got the right list. Okay, here we go. Mr. Myron K. Lawson.
Present.
Dr. Rainey Whitfield.
Present.
Attorney Tony Clayton.
Here.
Ms. Zazelle Dudley. Mr. Raymond Fondell Jr. Mrs. Maple Gaines. Mr. Sam Gilliam. Mr. Paul Matthews. Mrs. Christy Reeves.
Here.
Attorney Des Moines Rutledge.
Here.
Attorney Edwin Shorty.
Here.
Mrs. Ann A. Smith. Dr. Leon R. Tarver II. Reverend Dr. Samuel Tolbert. Dr. Orlando Williams. Mr. Jaron Young. You have a quorum.
Thank you, Chancellor Pierre. Item number 3, adoption of the agenda. Are there any modifications to the agenda as printed? Okay, got a motion. I am going to ask that you include that motion to lay over item number 6F in the absence of the president.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. You've seen the adoption of the agenda with the modifications. Been properly moved and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Any public comments? Item number 4, relative to the agenda as adopted. Does anyone approach the agenda, the podium? Item number 5, resolutions.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Condolences. We offer Jimmy Melton Gaines, affectionately known as Hello World. Jimmy was educated in the East Baton Rouge Parish School System and attended Job Corps. Jimmy's profession was detailing cars for 25 years. He passed away on November 29th, 2023. Keith Danny Williams was a native of New Orleans, Louisiana, and a resident of Houston, Texas, was a graduate of the Southern University and A&M College. He was a member of the Southern University National Alumni Federation and the Southern University Houston Alumni Chapter. Mr. Williams shined brightly, and his demeanor always reflected it throughout his life. He passed away on November 21st, 2023. Coach Lewis Hightower was a professor, a swim coach, and an all-around SU JAG swim legend. He was loved by everyone that met him. He had an impact on everyone he touched. He passed away on December 3rd, 2023. Dr. Errol W. Hines, 84, of Old Bridge, passed away on Tuesday, December 5th at Central State Hospital in Freehold, New Jersey. He was born in the parish of St. Lucie on the island of Barbados. He migrated to the United States from Canada in 1968 after having secured an engineering position at the prestigious Bell Laboratories. He worked there for over 20 years, retiring early to pursue a new career as the chairman of the Computer Science Department at Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. His funeral services will be held on December 16th, 2023 at Trinity Episcopal Church in Mattawa, New Jersey. Miss Crystal Gregoire King passed away on December 8th, 2023 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. She was educated at St. John the Baptist Public School System and graduated as the first African-American valedictorian from Leon Gaucher High School in 1978. She held a Bachelor's of Science degree in Chemical Engineering from Louisiana Tech University. Her career spanned 35 years with Dow Corporation, achieving success in various roles and functions at multiple locations. Her most recent role as site leader of Louisiana operations in Plaquemine, Louisiana. She was 61 years old and a native of Reserve, Louisiana. Her funeral mass will be at St. Jude the Apostle Catholic Church on Highland Road on Friday, December 15th, 2023 at 11 a.m. We have one commendation. We'd like to congratulate the Southern University Lab football team. The SU team wins the 2023 Division IV Select State title over River Ridge Academy of Reserve, Louisiana by a final score of 42-35, ending the season 12-1. This concludes our resolutions.
Thank you, Dr. Vital. You've heard the resolutions as read by Dr. Vital. It's been already moved by Attorney Rutledge and second by Ms. Christie Reeves. Discussion? Hearing? Okay. Mr. Fondell.
The Southern Lab on their big victory, winning state championships. So I just want to acknowledge that here. And I know many of us are aware of it, but congratulations to Southern Lab, the coach, to Coach Osbury, and to the Principal Brister also.
Thank you, Mr. Fondell. Dr. Whitfield.
Let's go tell the board and Mr. Fondell, we plan on truly recognizing them in the January board meeting. So we'll bring some of the team coaches and that big trophy. So we'll see them in January. I'm sure Ann would like that. Go Kentwood. Ann has to wear green and gold at the January meeting, y'all.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Action item 6. I'll entertain that in global if it's the wishes of the body. Is there a motion?
Second.
Moved by Attorney Rutledge, properly seconded by Dr. Whitfield. Discussion. Hear none, all in favor, aye? Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Informational items. Presidential report. Do you have anything you'd like to offer?
Well, I would like to, again, wish everyone a wonderful Christmas holiday on behalf of President Shields, who is under the weather. And we are trying to get him to just take care of himself so he can be ready for next year. We have been very, very fortunate this year to see progress made. One of the areas of progress, and I believe Dr. Mintz is here, or did he walk out?
Saw him earlier. I don't understand it.
So Dr. Youngton tell us about the recent award we got, which I think helps us get closer to R1 status, or puts us in a pathway to R1 status from R2 status.
It's an award that's funded by the Department of Education at the level of $5 million. And as you stated, it helps us to put in stronger infrastructure to move from R2 status to R1 status. And Dr. Mensah serves as the PI along with several faculty in the STEM areas serving as co-PI.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. We'll move now to the chancellors. Dr. Ammons.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair Whitfield, honorable members of the board, my colleagues. I just want to make 2 highlights. You have heard us talk about SUNO being a leading urban university. One of the issues that we have found to be really complex for families in urban communities all across this nation is high quality and affordable child care. Through a $400,000 grant from the Kellogg Foundation, a couple of weeks ago, we opened the SUNO Child Care Center. This child care center will be able to accommodate up to 100 children on our campus. Students, faculty, staff, and there are slots that are reserved for people in the larger community. So I wanted to highlight that. And then the other highlight that I want to give is about our biology department. Currently, former Miss SUNO, Jessica Thomas, is matriculating at the Indiana University School of Optometry. And we have a second student now who is in the interview process for admission to that same School of Optometry. Also, Stanford University has invited SUNO to be, Stanford University's medical school has invited SUNO to be a partner in what they call the HBCU Stanford University think tank. And this think tank has incorporated several HBCUs across the country, and SUNO received an invitation a couple of weeks ago. The goal of the think tank is to recruit students from historically Black colleges and universities into the medical school at Stanford University. In addition to that, we have a graduate of SUNO from last year who has been admitted into the NIH National Institutes of Health post-baccalaureate research education program in biomedical sciences. And this program is, first of all, it's highly competitive, and it aims to train underrepresented minorities for a year, preparing them for admission and retention, as well as completion of a PhD in biomedical sciences. So these are some of the successes that we have experienced over the last few weeks. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair. The packet, of course, is in your packet as well.
Chancellor.
Yes, sir.
Just wonder, you said about the Stanford Medical School. Are there some opportunities for us to have some conversations with them about our future endeavors in the medical school, or do you have a relationship where we can talk with them about?
Yeah, I'm thinking that SUBR is already a member, but I'll look into it.
Okay.
Yes.
But just again, just engaging with them about curriculum and that type of stuff.
Yes.
Okay. We'll
Yes.
talk about it. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, next we have Dr. Aubrey, Southern University of Shreveport, Louisiana.
Thank you, Chairman Lawson, to Vice Chairman Whitfield, along with the other honorable members of this board. On Tuesday of this week, Susla and Grambling State University entered a memorandum of understanding for a cooperative articulation agreement to accept graduates of Susla's Associate of Applied Science degree in engineering technology. Our students who will transfer from Southern University's program in Shreveport to Grambling State University, Grambling has agreed to accept 61 credit hours from our students who will transfer into their Bachelor of Science of Electrical Engineering. Susla and GSU share the goal of developing a regional partnership by securing employment for program completers. We were really excited about this opportunity. I remember the late Mr. Warner K. Brown, who was the department chair of engineering and technology on the Shreveport campus, and really wanted to see this opportunity come to pass. And we were able to do this on this past Tuesday. So I want to thank Grambling State University GSU President Rick Gallo, soon to be the UL System President, as well as the interim department head of engineering technology, Dr. Edwin Thomas, and his team for the outstanding work they've done to help us make this a reality. I would like to also acknowledge several members of the Susla team in the engineering program. Department Chair Kenny Moses, we have Dr. Atash Bari, Dr. Brandon Lacey, Ms. Graham, Ms. Vanessa White, who serves as our interim dean of BSTEM, as well as our interim vice chancellor of academic affairs and workforce development, Dr. Lonnie McCray. With starting at Southern University some 6 months ago, I started out with Reimagine Susla. That has been my mantra since I began my tenure as chancellor at Southern University at Shreveport in July of this year. My Susla family will tell you, when I come before them to speak in any setting, I ask them to reimagine Susla. As we reflect over the last 6 months as a newly minted chancellor, there have been a number of ups and downs, ebbs and flows. However, my Sussler family has embraced forward-thinking approaching to engage in community stakeholders, working with K through 12, business and industry, looking at pathways for post-secondary credentials, and supported the steady pace of building a strong university community. I want to publicly thank Southern University at Shreveport family for embracing my vision of Southern University at Shreveport becoming a 2-year college of choice. And they have really worked diligently to make sure that this happened. So, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all the faculty and staff at Southern University Shreveport, especially the students at Southern University at Shreveport, and all those who assemble here today. My chancellor's report has been included in the board packet. Thank you.
Yet, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and your family as well. Mr. Fundell.
This past week, I had an opportunity to see Dr. Gannett engage with Grambling University. I guess for half a second, it kind of caught most folks off guard, but it does show that we are able to work together, creating a pathway, not just with our system, with Grambling, showing, even though we do compete on a yearly basis in all sports, that we can come together to work to help to advance. So I want to commend you for the job that you're doing. You're right, just hitting the ground and making things happen. So thank you for your efforts there.
Thank you, Mr. Fundell. Hey, Dr. Southern University Agricultural Research Center.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In lieu of my normal presentation, we're going to do a short video put together by Dr. Katara Williams and her team that pretty much sums up some of our activities from 2023. And so with
the 5th anniversary of the Louisiana Medical Marijuana Program.
Oh, my.
We'll just hold on.
You want to do it next year?
Can I make one comment while we're waiting?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's, okay. One of the items that you actually approved today, I wanted to kind of explain that to you, and President Shields would have explained it a little bit more. The lease agreement with the Agricultural Research Service of the USDA, President Shields and I was approached in last spring. ARS is a research arm of the USDA. The historically black land grants was that ARS has never invested in an HBCU to the extent of building a facility. So we were selected as the first HBCU in the history of ARS, and they will, this lease agreement will allow us to go out and raise $62 million from the federal government, in which we will not pay 1 cent at Southern University to build a 51,000 square foot research facility. And it will be a federal building on campus. So that's what you actually voted on today.
Question to Chancellor Pierre, if I can, Mr. Lawson.
Yeah.
You notice how I go through chairs to talk, then I can talk. Pierre, I brought up this academic excellence deal for the Intelligence Center, but I haven't seen a letter from the Baton Rouge campus to the Board of Regents, nor from the President's office. What, if anything, you've done toward that? I think it goes line in line with what Dr. Means just said, bringing that federal building here. Have you done anything to pursue that? Because I think that's real. We can bring that curriculum here. And I just would like to see this administration move on that so that we can see if we can bring that program here.
Actually, we're working on that.
You working on writing a letter? I can help you.
But more than that, it's about putting together the right. One thing I've learned is this: when you start pursuing those kind of things, you got to make sure you got the right people in the right places. Now, to further that, for example, we have been working with Dr. Ammons on the cybersecurity aspect. So we really got to focus on which area we want to, and the area we think we want to deal with is cybersecurity. So we haven't been asleep on it. It takes a little while, but you'll see some fruits.
All right, let's get an update next meeting.
Okay.
All right. We'll move to item number 8. Any other business needs to come before the Southern University Board of Supervisors? I see a hand raised here. Video's ready. Video's ready. Let's go.
The 5th anniversary of the Louisiana Medical Marijuana Program.
move that we'll adjourn, Mr. Chair. Did you have anything else?
I just wanted to.
That's how you move.
I just wanted to add, we're at the close of the end of the year here, and we've had a significant number of people that have come on this campus for football games, for visitations, and for all different types of things here. Just to let it be said that our campus is safe. We've had no significant incidents on this campus with hundreds of thousands that have come for football season here. We still operate at a level as such to where we're safe. And I want to acknowledge the administration, but I also want to acknowledge the chief of our police here at Southern for the job that they've been doing. And also moving forward, it was brought to the attention of the Civil Service Board this past year of bringing wages up for not only our officers, but other officers. And those officers have been brought up to the level to where all law enforcement on college campuses are being paid the same amount of salary. And we're looking to offer positions with our police department here to make it more safer. So I just wanted to commend the efforts of our police department, of our administration, and also of this board support of them as such moving forward. So thank you with that. Happy holidays to everyone.
I want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Every difference here, and particularly those that we don't see, they come in this room and allow the lights to be turned on. And for us to be safe, as you mentioned, Funday, I'm very, very grateful for those folk. We may not ever know what they do, but we certainly appreciate it because we feel it. Nothing else. Is there a motion? I see Loria and Dr. Young.
Report on behalf of Southern University at Baton Rouge, if it's.
That would be nice.
Sir.
I'm sorry, Dr. Young.
No worries. I understand. Good afternoon again. First and foremost, let me thank this honorable board for supporting the faculty equity adjustments and for your support of the Office of Academic Affairs and for allowing the Baton Rouge campus to realign its operations for greater effectiveness. I have 3 updates, but before I get to that, Attorney Clayton, I have been in constant communications with the FBI agent who visited with us last month, and in order for us to apply for the Center for Excellence, it requires a request for proposal to be released from the federal government. So we're just waiting for that solicitation to be released, but we are in continuous communications and preparing a proposal to be a Center of Excellence. So 3 updates. Number 1, the lab school scored a B on its school performance rating, which is very significant. Thanks to Mr. Herman Brister for his leadership. In addition to that of his staff, they had a growth rate of 6.3 points over the last year. So they are doing very good. Our School of Nursing, both its BSN and its MSN programs, has been reaccredited for another 10 years. And finally, Southern University was selected as the site to host the U.S. Deputy Secretary Tanya Brad-Shear's roundtable with VA students from Southern University and from local institutions. So that concludes my report. Thank you. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Thank you. The motion's already been made. Consider us adjourned. Thank you.